So just to begin, first and foremost, with the general situation that we have recorded for today and the number of cases recorded for today. We'll have a slide coming up to you shortly in English, as always. New confirmed case for today, we have 756 cases recorded. As mentioned in the past 2 or 3 days, don't be alarmed with the high number of confirmed cases for today and the other days, because most of it are from active case finding. Most of it are intentional, and it's for us to root out the various positive infections found in various areas. So out of 756 today, 724 are from active case finding, making the cumulative number of cases since last year over 16,000. And also the recoveries is now over 11,000. The active cases, the current cases under treatment, remain at 4,858, with the cumulative number of fatalities at 76, remaining at 76. No new fatalities to report for today. So just some observations from the presentation of Dr. Pisamai, and some observations on the cases in general, that the nationwide situation has indeed improved significantly in the past 1 month. If we take the whole month, 1 month tally, it has improved to a certain degree. Although the high number of cases in the past few days are high, but as I mentioned, it's more of the active case finding. Most of the confirmed cases, local transmissions, are from workplaces and factories and families, from within families and social gatherings. There's one point of information that might be good news a bit, that no new cases have been reported in 47 provinces, from around 46 provinces in the past days. Now 47 provinces have had no new cases of infections in their last 7 days. In their own last 7 days, 47 had no cases. At the same time, there are 14 provinces where no cases were found during this whole new wave of COVID. So if we do the math, 47 plus 14, we have 61 provinces in this sort of a grouping for today. So let's make it the so-called safer zones. So this makes the so-called safer zone provinces now at 61 provinces. Because of no infections in many of those provinces in 7 days, and no infections in part of those provinces at all in the new wave. So 61 considered so-called safer zones, and this was what was recapped in the Thai language version of the briefing today. Still, of course, it is necessary to monitor the situation closely. Samut Sakhon province remains the only high-risk area in this regard. The situation in Bangkok Metropolitan Administration in Bangkok and its vicinity is more or less under control, but still needs to be closely monitored. The Ministry of Public Health has stepped up precautionary measures by instructing provincial health authorities to test people with pneumonia or acute respiratory infection, ARI, for COVID. So this is another precaution. Those who are sick with pneumonia or ARI, acute respiratory infection, they are being tested for COVID as well. On the measures and announcement for relaxing of measures, as mentioned yesterday, we'll be having tomorrow a general CCSA meeting wherein all the relaxation of measures will be confirmed and ironed out and announced. So particularly regarding the reopening of schools, of educational institutions, yesterday the Minister of Education signed the announcement on the reopening of educational institutions following the improvement of the situation. This is reference to the earlier announcement instructing all educational institutions affiliated with or under the supervision of the Education Ministry, both public and private, formal and informal, in 28 provinces to be closed. So as per this announcement, starting from the 1st of February 2021, all educational institutions in the said provinces, except for Samut Sakhon, in the 28 provinces, except for Samut Sakhon, shall be reopened to provide teaching and learning. All institutions will strictly comply with the COVID prevention measures prescribed by the Health Ministry. For those in Bangkok and vicinity like Nonthaburi, Samut Prakan province, Nakhon Pathom, Pathum Thani provinces, there is an additional measure wherein the daily maximum number of students per classroom shall not exceed 25. In case that any educational institution does not have sufficient classrooms, it shall have to arrange for students to attend classes on alternate days, staggered days. And this is important to note that this announcement is aimed to allow enough time for schools to make necessary preparations ahead of the planned reopening on the 1st of February. And all schools have been informed in this regard. However, of course, the final decision on all the relaxation measures will be consolidated and will be presented to the CCSA general meeting tomorrow, chaired by the Prime Minister, and come out as a big package of all the relaxation measures as one big package. And in case that the CCSA makes any different decision, the various ministries, including the Education Ministry, will be amending various announcements accordingly. So with regard to schools and with regard to one recommendation from the World Health Organization, just to share some of that for schools and students so that everyone can avoid COVID, and when they go back to school, that could be safe and of no harm and preventive. So as you can see on screen, there's an infographic on schools, keeping schools safe during COVID and always, as per the recommendation of the World Health Organization. For example, staying home if students are sick, keeping physical distancing, coughing and sneezing into flexed elbow or tissue paper, wearing masks and washing hands. This is very important to let the young children, young students know and keep it to heart as a common practice, as a routine. Also, there is a slide information from the WHO regarding what the educational facilities should be focusing on in terms of ensuring the prevention of the spread of COVID, such as ensuring that sick students do not come to school, ensuring regular hand washing, disinfecting the school surfaces, desks, and all the like daily, providing water, sanitation, and waste management facilities that are appropriate, cleaning and decontamination procedures, and promote physical distancing and mask use. It's very important because, of course, the number of students in schools around the country, and particularly in the 28 provinces, are very numerous. And it would be very harmful if our children, our students, do not abide by these recommendations, do not follow these recommendations, and in turn create a wider infection if the complacency steps in. So just some information regarding there were some inquiries actually received on social media from the English language community. Sometimes we see that on our social media, various platforms of other agencies as well, or the foreign ministries' social media, and we take those questions and we answer it on air so that everyone can hear the answer. So there's one question received from an expat in Pattaya, Chonburi province, asking when the restrictions will be lifted. The question was in terms of business, in the business dimension of it, so that businesses will not be affected further. So as mentioned yesterday, the issue of relaxation and restriction of measures is very important. It could have a significant effect on various sectors of society. So we have to be very, very careful and very, very balanced in our approach. So following the graduate improvement, the measures effective until the end of January, but starting from the 1st of February, many provinces will have the prerogative to review their situation specific to their respective provinces, and we will be able to modify the various measures to fit their current setting. So this means that provincial governors could announce the easing or lifting of particular restrictions as appropriate with the advice of health authorities. So please be patient. The 1st of February is only a few days away. It's next week. And as I mentioned earlier, 31st of January was our cutoff date in analyzing all of the implementation, all of the measures, the effectiveness of all the measures, the compliance with all the measures. So most likely on the 1st of February, provinces will have more flexibility to lift various restrictions, which are varied in different provinces. So currently, about 80 to 90% of transmissions are concentrated or found in Samut Sakhon and parts of Bangkok and surrounding areas. While in the rest of the country, we have been able to control the spread of the virus quite effectively. If you saw the maps shown in the presentation of Dr. Apisamai just now, a lot of the areas have become white, or if you colored it green, the safer, so-called safer zones that I mentioned. A lot of the provinces have been colored white now, which means that week on week, it has become a better situation. So 3 weeks ago, it might have been more of yellow and orange, but considering last week in particular, and only last week, 7 days of last week by week compared, it's a much better situation. The concentration province-wise has been narrower already, and other provinces have not been experiencing high numbers of infections and have thus been colored to be of lower risk than the past weeks, low risk or white. So therefore, it is likely that we will be seeing further easing of restrictions in many provinces soon. We need to follow the announcements of each province closely. So this was the question from the expat community in Thailand. I'd just like to touch a bit on the biocircular green economic model that I mentioned yesterday, which of course this is for the economic recovery model post-COVID, after COVID, the policy after COVID, which we have put forward. The aim is to revive the economy post-COVID. Not only that, but also to be the key driving engine for the economy in the future. And 2 weeks ago, the Prime Minister instructed agencies to adopt the BCG as a national agenda, expediting the formulation of the 5-year national BCG strategy plan based on 4 priority areas: food, agriculture, medical and wellness, bioenergy, biomaterial, biochemical, tourism, and creative economy, as you see on screen. And +1, so 4 + 1, that was 4. The +1 is biodiversity and cultural diversity. Not totally new in our economic policy. We have strong potential in the 4 economic sectors already. The adoption of BCG as a key policy priority is to be intensified as an effort to take advantage of the remaining untapped opportunities for the economic development of the country. In this regard, we welcome foreign investors and partners in the near future to join us in this journey and for the mutual benefit of Thailand and the world at large. Just to end, the assistant spokesperson addressed one question in the Q&A session regarding the disclosure of information. So there had been a particular case in Thailand, as you would know, that there might have been some people not disclosing their timeline or their whereabouts or where they have been visiting after they had been in contact with COVID positive persons, infected persons. So this is very important because disclosing your timeline when you are informed that you have been in touch with people who are infected is very important because it's able to help authorities control in a timely manner the spread of the disease and control and prevent it from becoming a super spreader. So on screen here, you have sort of like a map that the assistant spokesperson showed just now in Thai. We have it only in Thai. Apologies for that. So it's actually like a map, like a simulated city, sim city type. But basically, it's a hypothetical timeline of what could possibly happen if you meet with a person that is COVID positive, and you continue on your journey to meet people without disclosing information, without taking the appropriate measures. So it goes on this route from A, B, C up to K, and the endless possibilities of A, meeting his family, which is B, in the house in C, and then meeting office mates in D, buying food from street vendors, street food in E there, etc. Or coming out to eat lunch, even though he or she knows that he is at risk, for example, or while waiting for the results of the COVID swab test, for example, right? And then I would be gas stations or meeting various colleagues and people and congregating and attending parties and the like. So this is just a hypothetical scenario that one might take if he or she does not take any precaution after being made aware of the COVID infection or the contact with a COVID infected person. So it's very important. The Department of Disease Control has reiterated time and time again that the behavior of people who are found to be at COVID risk is very important. This actually is against the law. It's actually in violation of the Communicable Disease Control Act in terms of falsifying information and in terms of possibly, potentially harming others in society. And of course, that is punishable by law. In addition, it is also a criminal offense according to the Criminal Code of Thailand, wherein falsifying information to authorities may be penalized, punished for imprisonment of 6 months or fine of up to 10,000 baht or both imprisonment and fine. And this is applicable to persons who falsify information as well as the venues that hosted particular events which are against the measures and the laws. So the legal provision, the legal dimension of that is there. I'm not saying that any particular group or any particular case had been disclosing information. Of course, that is for the relevant authorities to dig deep into. But in general, just hoping that your sacrifice is very important. Your sacrifice in disclosing your timeline, your sacrifice in not concealing any information that is relevant to the authorities will be of utmost importance for us to continue to contain this virus, keep the numbers of local transmission low, and when the active case finding numbers are all found, all sought out, all rooted out, and quarantined and put into the medical treatment system, hoping that all of those who are still under treatment, still in active cases, 4,800 plus, hoping that all of them will recover soon and our numbers of recoveries will meet the number of confirmed cases. Hoping one day that will become a zero-case country. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you very much for your cooperation, and we'll see you again tomorrow. สวัสดีครับ
ขอขอบพระคุณท่านณัฐพานุนพคุณนะครับรองอธิบดีกรมสารนิเทศและรองโฆษกกระทรวงการต่างประเทศครับในวันนี้เป็นการแถลงในหลายเรื่องที่สนใจและสำคัญนะครับคุณผู้ชมสามารถติดตามฟังย้อนหลังได้ด้วยทาง Facebook Live MBT 2 HD รายการในช่วงบ่าย 14 นาฬิกาใครที่สนใจเกี่ยวกับเรื่องกีฬาที่ได้รับผลกระทบจากโควิด -19 ทั้งการจัดแข่งขันและกีฬาอาชีพสามารถติดตามได้ทาง MBT 2 HD เวลา 14 นาฬิกานี่คือทั้งหมดสำหรับวันนี้นะครับผมธีวัชชูรัตน์พร้อมทีมงานทุกคนต้องลาไปก่อนสวัสดีครับ